Hello everyone, this is the question asked in GATE 2020 Civil Engineering Set 2. We have been given with a paragraph. Nominal interest rate is defined as the amount paid by the borrower to the lender for using the borrowed amount for a specific period of time. Real interest rate calculated on the basis of actual value, inflation minus adjusted, is approximately equal to the difference between the nominal rate and the expected rate of inflation in the economy. Which of the following assertions is best supported by the above information? Now, in this paragraph, we have been given certain points, and based on deductions from those points, we have to select the most appropriate option from the above information. Now, in order to solve this question, let's have a look at the useful data. Now, in such type of problems, we need to figure out the logical meaning from the passage and point to the most closest option given, and we have to stick with whatever information which is given in the passage. Even though the statement might be factually incorrect, we cannot assume anything on our own. So, with this idea, let's try to solve the problem. So, the first thing which is given in the question is the nominal interest rate, which is the rate of interest at which the borrower pays money to the lender. Also here, the inflation is not considered. Now, we have been also given with the real interest rate, which is the rate at which the borrower pays the money to the lender, but here the inflation is considered. Now, we have been given with a formula to calculate the real interest rate as the difference between the nominal rate and the expected rate of inflation. So, I can write the real interest rate as the difference of the nominal interest rate minus the inflation. So with this formula that is deduced, let's look at the options. So in the first option, it is given that under high inflation, the real interest rate is low and the borrowers get benefited. So if I look at my formula, I can say that when the inflation is increased, the real interest rate would be decreased, or the real interest rate would be low. And since the real interest rate is low, the rate at which the borrower pays money to the lender would be low, hence the borrower would be benefited. So option A seems to be the true answer. Let's look at the other options as well. The second option says that under low inflation, real interest rate is high and the borrowers get benefited. So if I look at my formula, I can say that under low inflation, the real interest rate would be high. But since the real interest rate would be high, the lenders would be benefited. So option B is false. Now let's look at option C. Under high inflation, real interest rate is low and the lenders get benefited. Now if I look at my formula, I can see that under high inflation rate, the real interest rate would be low. And since the real interest rate is low, the borrowers are the one who will be benefited. So option C is also false. Now let's look at the last option, which is given as under low inflation, real interest rate is low and the borrowers get benefited. So if the inflation is low, the real interest rate would be high, which is false in this question. Also, since the real interest rate is high, the lenders would be the people who will be benefited, not the borrowers. So both the cases would be wrong. So the only option which is right is option A. So option A is the right answer. Thank you.